Good morning. So for today's tip, I am going to just go over not a whole separation process, but a small part of the process. So when you have a simulated process print going on, I have my channels in here that I'm putting in my separations for, and then I have the RGB file that I reference, and I have them side by side, and I'm isolating, making a mask of a certain area. And the reason why I want to do that is I want to capture all of just this red, because one of the things that a lot of separators don't pay attention to is the saturation underneath of the predominant color, like in this case the red. So you have your black halftone going over top of it, like this. And so what I do is I have these side by side. I'm using color range to pick and pull out colors here. Now normally I don't use color range for anything, but I want to capture I don't want to use a pen tool or make a mask out of this, because this is like a hand painted, hand painted piece of artwork, and I want to pull some halftone up in here of these browns and whatnot. So if I was to use the pen tool or to make a specific tight clean selection, it would look too mechanical. So I want this to look more organic, and I want to pull and create a mask similar to what I did here for the blue. As you see, all the rough edges and whatnot, it's staggered. It's not a perfect clean cut isolation. So I do this. So for example, I'll make a selection of this blue and go to a black separation like Process Black, and in this black I will make a copy there. So I'll copy that, bring it to a new channel, paste it in there, and then make a selection of that, and then move to my underlying colors. So under magenta, I will adjust the curves a little bit and fill that halftone in there, and you can see how it fills underneath of what would be black, and I'm really giving it saturated color versus just letting it knock out from each other. So I'm building up, and I'm giving this this color that would be here a little bit more of a saturated color under this black versus just letting it knock out. It would look a little too airy if I did that. I say airy for the lack of a better word, but it would just washed out, maybe might be better. So here's another example, is like select the process blue, and you can fill in the midtones. Now you can drag over, just fill a straight solid fill of that also, but not quite as good. Now keep in mind, you don't want to make it 100% filled, saturated there, because then it'll stack up, it'll build too much underneath of it. So you just want to fill it maybe about 30%, like 1/3 of the way. Doesn't have to be precise, but and then you move into another color, like maybe the magenta, depending on the hue or the color of that shadow tone there. If it's navy, you can kind of fill it and make it a little bit more red and more of the blue, and get closer to a navy kind of shadow look. Again, that would be filling it too much, but so I want to beef it up a little bit by just adding 30% underneath of there. So what this does is create a more natural looking shadow. You see how rich this looks as opposed to how this looks up in here. these these shadow tones are a little bit more washed out in comparison to the red that we have in this area, where the browns are a little more filled in. And keep in mind, I also pre-compensated already on my black separation, so yes, this does look a little lighter, a little more washed out, but that's because I did back off of that black overall, except for the extreme dark black shadow areas. And so I want to fill these areas with color, so there I'm building up more and more, as you can see. Referencing on the right side some areas. So I'll come over here and click and activate the RGB and reference, this brown area right here. Sorry, let me pull this up. So I'll reference this area right in here. So in comparison, it's a little more washed out. This got a little bit more red in it. So clicking in, activate the RGB, and click in this color. You can kind of see that taupey looking color there. And I want to note on my color picker, my little eyedropper here, I have it on point sample and current layer. So in my layers, I have this layer activated, the actual artwork. You can use all layers, but then it also, if like you had a colored shirt background, it would be pulling from the shirt color background also. So I just I have a white background so that I don't pull any color from that. But I'll reference that color and go to select color range, click on this area here, and it kind of captures that. And I can get a little preview here of just how much area it's capturing, so I can expand that a little bit. I don't want too much of anything else, so I'm just creating a mask here again on this. And as you can see, this channel I have colored green. Doesn't matter, I can brighten it up a little bit. And this helps me identify different areas that I want to. While I got this previewed over top, I can clearly see that I don't have any of this red captured up here. And then I can come in, while this is still activated, I still have my selection from my color range. I have black in the foreground, and then I can fill it, and you can see how it fills a little bit more in there. So I'm just building that up more and more. I'll come up and capture some of this brighter red. Click anywhere in there at the moment, and then select color range. This is just a very manual way of building up an isolated selection tool. And then this shows me that this area right here I don't have anything in, so I can capture this, select color range, bada boom, bada bing, click on that, activate the red, fills that in. So as you can see, it's creeping over into this line work. It's not like a perfect selection. And that's what I don't want. I don't want a perfect selection as if you were to do it with the pen tool or something. And then I'll select all of this area. And I would normally view down and collect more of this, but I'm trying not to show my customers art file. So this art is not really the reason for the tutorial, so I don't want to use that. So I'm really focusing on this banner here, and now I can just with the airbrush tool on the soft fuzzy side, I can come in here and with white in the foreground and this channel activated, I can come in and paint out some areas with a soft brush, so that you know, I don't have any hard paintbrush strokes that are visible. And here I can see that I have some green percentages. Actually, I need that is part of the art, those greens there, so I can airbrush that back in a little bit. And now what I'll do with the rest of this is adjust levels. And I'll fill this in, slide it over to the left or to the right, and that's grabbing just about everything in there, except for some really dark areas. And I don't want any bullet holes in this selection, so I'll paint over those also for the most part. For the most part. A lot of this is just because I'm anal and I come in and control everything, but really these areas must be truly like heavily dark areas. Let's look at the B and see what these are. Yeah, so those are just dark areas butted up right against they're lighter areas actually, and then so lighter areas of red that I didn't pick up in the selection. So these are like highlights, but I don't want extreme bullet hole highlights. You know, I don't want them to shine like stars. So I'll come in and paint these in, fill them in. That's pretty good. And there you have it. That's what I'll use. So then I'll make this selection. Well, let me make sure I don't have anything else selected in there yet. Nothing else. Paint over that one. Get rid of some of that. Make this selection. Come to the process black. Copy. Control C or Command C. Click on a new channel. Control V or Command V. And then now I can take this selection and fill it on mostly my red channel. As I preview all these together, you'll see that I can beef that up a little bit. I can either click it into midtones, which really won't, that fills in your shadow tones and leaves your highlights alone, but what if I want to fill in the highlights also? So that whole selection, I'll beef that up by, like, you know, maybe 30%, 25%. I can highlight this and enter in 2.5. Click enter. And a little bit on the process yellow also. So all I'm doing is just richening up, making those shadow tones more rich. Are they going to be accurate? In print, yeah, it'll be pretty close. Even in CMYK. I just know this by experience, and in comparison, and I'll have some browns here. I just happen to know that this black is going to print pretty heavily down over top, and it'll richen things up. So imagine it, for example, kind of ending up doing that in print. Not so much, that's pretty heavy, but you know, you get the idea. So that's that. That's your tip for today.